that's the fundamental, at some level, the fundamental structure of the internet is that you have these basically privately run internet service providers that have private networks that then connect to each other. And that way, we can all talk to each other, right? So I'm on Verizon, and I can talk to someone in California that's on Time Warner, right? That's the idea of the internet, right? So the way that net neutrality, or the fear, right, about why you need net neutrality rules is that these internet service providers will block content onto their network, okay? So say you're a Verizon user in New York City, okay? And you're interested in some content that someone has posted on the internet on Time Warner in California, okay? You want that content. And what new technologies actually allow ISP, internet service providers, to do is block content that they don't want you to get access to. And the problem with that is they might just block content because they don't like that. It's actually kind of unlikely. More likely is they're going to charge the person in California for the right to access their customers, okay? And that's what breaks down this idea of a democratic, flat kind of network, because now, instead of just charging me to get access to the whole internet, now what the internet service provider can do is then go out and charge content providers for access to me, right? And so that is what kind of fundamentally undermines that problem. Now, whether you want to do that or not is actually kind of a second order question, but that's the fundamental concern. And so for your blogger, right, now you can put your stuff up. If an internet provider thought they could extract money from you, that's why I'm not sure it's a concern, right? Because they will know likely that they won't be able to extract money from you, but if they miscategorize you into someone that they think they can extract money from, then what's going to happen is they're going to say, we want, okay, you're a Verizon user, you want to post to your blog, you can do that, and all the Verizon users can do that, but now you want someone in California to be able to read your blog, right? You don't just want the local users. And then Time Warner says to you, hey, guess what, if you want access to our customers, you have to pay us, right? So it can severely curtail your kind of capacity as a content provider to reach out to a broad audience without having to pay at all, and then kind of negotiate transactions with all these different entities. It can be really burdensome. So that's the basic concern with that.
The internet has become more than I think it was originally conceived to become. It has become essential infrastructure. It's become social infrastructure. It's become opportunity infrastructure. And that's why we're at such a critical moment right now in the history of communications, in the history of the internet. Is we have one model for the internet, which is built around this idea of the internet as a business, as a commodity. Companies that will sell you a high-speed internet connection for $40. We have a problem in the marketplace in that there are too few of them. They're what's called duopolies, in some cases a monopoly, of control over internet access. But at the same time, we have this new concept of the internet as public infrastructure, as something that is important to us, if not more than electricity, water, plumbing, roads, etc. And there's a conflict between those two ideas. If it is public infrastructure, if it does provide us with necessary social goods, and yet there's another school of thought, which is that it's this private enterprise that is controlled by the companies that control your access, that give you access, you have a problem. So it's a really good question for very complicated reasons, and we are right now at the point not so much defining what the internet is or has been, but what it will become, which is why we have a national broadband plan, a lot of things, that network neutrality issue, a lot of things that are being debated very hotly in Washington.
The way we talk about the digital divide at People's Production House is just simply it's the gap between those who have internet and those who don't have internet. And for us, what that means with the communities that we work with communities of color, low-wage workers, immigrants, youth in New York City and in Washington, D.C. What that means is it's the difference between getting a job and not getting a job. It's the difference between being able to apply for college and not apply for college. It's the difference between doing a really great job on a report, having access to the internet and being able to research really well, or having to go to the library and wait online and and wait for your opportunity to get an hour's worth of internet time at your local public library. And that's, for us, it's a really important issue. It's a really important issue to elevate, because as journalists, training other folks in communities of color to do their own community journalism, it's really important for our folks to have access to the internet. Television is not an easy medium to break into if you're someone who's a community organizer in the Bronx or in Brooklyn. Radio, there are some outlets, but there aren't many. There's maybe one in New York City that's community run, and it has its own sets of issues and problems and barriers to entry. And so the internet's a really democratizing tool for our communities. You teach someone how to use a recorder, they tell their story, they edit it, and within 15 minutes it's up on the internet and they can share it with anyone in the world. And for us, it's really important to bridge that divide.